Last year in December at Art Basel in Miami, I was invited to participate in a one-of-a-kind exhibition called Giants in the City, Miami. The exhibition was comprised of 10 artists, each artist designing an inflatable sculpture that went up to 35 feet in height. Each piece was an individual creation curated by Alejandro Mendoza, a Cuban refugee. Several artists of great fame, one being Tomas Essen and the other being Jose Badia, were in the show. But the effort of the show and the composition of the show was all artist generated. We paid for our own pieces, we stood in the mud and installed our own pieces, and we operated our own opening, we did the lighting, did everything ourselves. It was one of the best artistic experiences of my life. There was a group of people creating monumental objects in the spirit of the art fair, of the international character, but all of it done with our own money, no support from any agencies or institutions. And the novelty of the show was that even though the work was monumental, it was designed so that it could fit into a suitcase and be transported from Miami to Buenos Aires or to some other destination. So the notion of a kind of heroic, monumental scale that could be carried in the luggage compartment of an airplane was pretty exciting, and I was proud to be part of it. This year it was staged again, and I was invited to join the group, which had gained some new members and lost a few. And this year I went to Miami in August to work on my design. Finally, after several days of work and drawing and thinking and going around with the curator, Alejandro, I came up with a concept of an enormous head along the lines of the figures from Easter Island. At this point, I produced some drawings to scale and a paper maquette. The paper maquette and drawings were carried to Cuernavaca, Mexico, where they were going to be cut and shaped into my concept. 2 weeks before Basel opened, I received a phone call from Miami. The piece was there. When could I get there? And that I had to order from a website online a blower to inflate the object. I did the ordering, I got in my car, and I headed for Miami. 21 hours later, I was there the next day to see my creation for the first time. It was laid out on the floor, on the grass in a backyard of a man who I met that day by the name of Miguel. I was told by Miguel that Alejandro, his friend, another Cuban, had asked him to allow me to work on my sculpture in his backyard. When I conceived of my sculpture, instead of using colored material, fabric, vinyl, which these things are made out of, I decided to go with the cheaper manufacturer, which was the white, and then I would do some painting on it. I had a concept of what I was going to do, but I really didn't have a clear idea of what I was going to do. When I saw the piece for the first time laid out in his yard, Miguel told me that he had been a film director in Cuba who had made a movie that Fidel did not like the way the image presented Cubans to the world. So he was sentenced to 25 years in jail, which he found undesirable, and with 3 other guys slipped into a rowboat and crossed the sea to Miami, 4 days and nights in a rowboat to flee from Cuba to Miami. In Miami for the last 20 years, he's worked as a cameraman, director, etc. at Telemundo, the Latin television station based in Miami. He would offer me his yard, he told Alejandro, and then he investigated my website and decided maybe it would be worthwhile sticking around. He volunteered to help me make the painting, and every day he became a more valuable helper each day. He was there with me all day while I painted, a minimum of 8 hours a day. And at a certain point, I only had to think of what I needed, and Miguel would put the brush or the color I needed in my hand. Without Miguel, I could not have done the piece, but one of the nice side products of working with Miguel was he's a world-class photographer, and he did a photo documentation of the process as we went. We finished the piece in 4.5 days. I had been thoroughly introduced to the world of Little Havana where we were working. I had met numerous neighbors, joined Miguel and his family at meals, and really been warmly received and deeply appreciate the help that they were able to extend to me. The piece arrived in Bayfront Park on the morning of December the 2nd, and the inflation process began. The following couple of hours involved each artist erecting their sculpture, each one seeing it for the first time displayed in public. Mine being pretty much the only one that had been painted, and it marked a bit of a departure from the process. Several of the artists at the end of the day were discussing the option of painting on their own piece. But I, from my perspective, felt that I had actually sort of fused two of my interests. One is very large form sculpture, simple sculpture that is lightweight and based on some of the designs that I discovered in the rainforest in my time there. And the other part of my interest was the idea of making murals or large portable paintings. So in this particular project, I was tested a bit, but I think I attempted to rise to the occasion and produce something of a success in both of those dimensions. I'm thrilled with the piece and look forward to other opportunities. But as last year, it was totally generated from the monies and efforts that we ourselves put into it. I this year was able to get a little support from my college in the form of a faculty development grant, which helped me, the Moore College of Art helped me fund the manufacturing, but the balance of the money, which was more than a couple of $1,000s more, plus my effort, was all just on sheer desire. In the end, there was a sense of brotherhood and community, which we all shared in the project, and we are looking forward to these pieces premiering in Osaka, Japan in 2010, where they've been invited. And of course, we're looking for other sites where these pieces can be displayed. I feel like I'm part of something new and at the beginning, far from the end, just the beginning of a process.